Welcome everyone to safe, efficient deployment of student devices. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We want to leave some time for people to start entering the room. Well, welcome. I hope you've been enjoying the Tech Summit so far. We've had some awesome sessions, amazing speakers, great participation from audience members doing, activities with Smart and we've had some great conversations in the chat box. So I hope you've been enjoying those. If you've missed any of our sessions, I'm going to be sending out a follow-up email with a link to a YouTube page. We have been uploading all of the sessions onto that page, so feel free to check out anything that you missed or anything that you saw and you want to watch again. It's all going to be available there. Feel free to share it with your colleagues, your friends. All of this information could be incredibly helpful as we prepare for this very strange upcoming school year. So check it out. If you're just joining us, welcome to Safe, Efficient Deployment of Student Devices. We're going to get started. We're going to give it just one more minute as people start entering the space. Today, our presenter is Shelley Cameron. She's the National Sales Manager from Copernicus Educational Products. She is going to give us a ton of great information about the different furniture options that are available and also just different ways that you can deploy all these devices with your students and do it safely. For those of you just joining us, or if this is your first Zoom, if you scroll to the bottom of your page, you'll see a tab come up. There is going to be a Q&A box. Feel free to click on that box where you can ask questions throughout the presentation, and we're going to try to address them in that box. However, Shelley might answer that live for you. We also have the chat box available, so feel free to mention, where you're from and different ideas that you have. We want to keep that conversation going throughout the presentation. So we would love to hear from you. We have 22 people in the room, so I am going to stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna give you guys a wave so you can see there is Shelley there. And Shelley, I'm gonna pass this on over to you so you can get started.
Perfect. Thank you, Nina. I will arrange to share my screen. Appreciate it. I hope everyone is having a great day so far. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Nina, for inviting me along. I'm excited to be present and connect with everyone today. In regards to our products, I'm Shelley Cameron, actually from Copernicus Educational Products. I've worked for Copernicus for over 10 years. Copernicus is known in the industry as being an innovative manufacturer. We manufacture robust equipment, typically focusing on mobility and storage in the classroom. So tech, we're very proud to be partners of tech, and anything that I show today certainly can be purchased through them. I can answer any questions as we go as well. So today we're going to focus on safe, efficient deployment of student devices. So thank you for joining. A little bit about the Copernicus brand. We have been in business for over 30 years. The company was actually started by a retired school principal. So he had retired and started tinkering in his garage. He developed a science block kit, you'll see there in the top corner. And he started selling that to his friends and his former colleagues and such, and they kept asking him for different equipment that they were looking for and was unable to find. So George, the gentleman there in the center dancing with his wife, he started developing a few additional products, and now his son Jim has taken over the company. George was a designer at heart. He really had a talent for listening to teachers ask questions like, it's great that it does this, but what about this? And he would listen, take their feedback, and improve on things that he was developing. And that actually holds true till today as well. We have 50 employees. We have 5 designers on staff. And our designers actually work with educators in the field and in our idea lab. They do brainstorming to try and find, I guess, the next product that makes sense in the classroom and helps teachers have an easier job to teach the kids. So whether the product the idea comes from the Idea Lab or our designers. They collaborate very closely. They do prototypes, they do live testing, real life testing, so that when we launch the product, it actually makes sense to other educators. That's kind of what we do. We like to listen to the statement after the word if, you know, it would be better if it did this. So being in education, we're 100% education focused. So with that, we primarily focus on pre-K to grade 6, but we want to make furniture that will withstand the rigors of the classroom. With George having spent his entire career in the classroom and as a principal, he certainly knew that it had to be robust enough to handle those little hands. So Copernicus, we strive to give back 1% of our sales to charity. In 2018, we actually donated $200,000 to charity, various charities, and we want to maintain that. We've become a certified B Corporation. And what certified B corporations do, they're a community of like-minded companies that really want to do business as a force for good. They focus on people, planet, and profits. So with that, we've got some pretty good co-group people there with Etsy, Ben & Jerry's and such. There's actually 33,000 companies in over 70 countries that are part of the B Corp family. So because Copernicus manufactures robust everyday classroom equipment, we really wanted in 2020 to launch a new warranty program. So we've got your back warranty that launched in January. So what will schools look like? COVID-19 certainly has changed a lot for everyone, students, parents, every person. I'm looking at the Center for Disease Control, the American Federation of Teachers, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Some of their recommendations include cleaning and disinfecting objects that are touched by multiple students, whether it be with simple wipes or other cleaners or some form of disinfection. Frequent hand washing, developing healthy hand practices, or using sanitizer when hand washing isn't available. Having these things, whether it be hand washing or sanitizers, available at the entranceway of the school, scheduled hand washing and sanitizing throughout the day, and actually making hand hygiene a focus that is both taught and reinforced in the classrooms. Storage for personal belongings so that kids aren't sharing those common objects. Modified layout plans to distance students, looking at the 6-foot physical distancing aspect that the CDC recommends. That could include physical barriers such as dividers and personal protective equipment. Also, remote learning plans need to be in place. Thinking of the individual classrooms, a couple of scenarios. We've got staggered schedules so that kids are not arriving at the school at the same time and congregating in common areas. Having that staggered will really help alleviate the congregation of students. Smaller class sizes, taking in that 6-foot physical distancing that is being recommended. That could mean a mix of remote and in-person learning. Outdoor classrooms, they have certainly come a long way in the last couple of years, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them because, of course, the great outdoors is much safer and able to be physically distanced from each other as well in the outside. So Tub2 was a product we developed a number of years ago, and actually as part of your participation today, we are making a draw after the meeting and giving away one of these 6-device tech tubs to a lucky winner. So fingers crossed it's you. But to give you a little bit of background, how our designers actually work with educators to develop products, I'll tell you a little bit about the background of the tech tub. Our designer was in a local school actually and was observing how they were using their devices and such, and noticed that there was a collection of 6 iPads that were stored in a milk crate in the principal's office, and an authorized child was able to go into the principal's office, unplug the devices, take the milk crate to class, and then at the end of the day return it to the principal's office to charge them. So our designer was like, well, why don't we just make a secure milk crate? Why don't we design something that will allow the devices to be plugged in and charged and stored, have the ability to lock the tub down to a surface so that it creates security in the classroom, and then also obviously have the door lock that that people aren't able to get inside. So that was actually the inspiration for a tech tub, was an actual milk crate. We designed additional products around this core product of 6 devices. We also have a 10 device tub, which you'll see in a couple of slides. And then we developed carts and other things around that, that key focus. So thinking of the tech tub and in March and what we observed as schools closed and such, we observed many kids being sent home with the devices. We also saw a lot of school districts purchasing thousands of devices and deploying them quickly, whether it be at curbside, scheduled times at the schools. We actually were speaking to a tech director in New Jersey. He actually has had tech tubs. So one way he was using it, which was really heartwarming, it shows just how far educators go to service their kids and students. He was actually, because some of the kids and parents weren't able to make it to the scheduled curbside pickup and such, he took his tech tubs and with devices in and delivered them to the individual students' homes. I'm sure there is other educators out there doing the same thing as well. It just goes to show how everyone pitched in to make the best out of a horrible situation, so to speak. Once they were deployed, you would still have you might actually end up with more devices that that had something go wrong with it, whether breakage, damage, that type of thing. So we heard of other administrators that actually were able to take a tech tub home and be more efficient at swapping out devices that were needing to be swapped out. And so they kept the tech tub locked at home, kept the devices in there, and it just made it a little bit easier for them to make those immediate recourses for changing devices out. So looking at both of those scenarios, certainly the tech tub, because of its small size, made it much more portable. And when you think of like the big sideways filing cabinets, that is typical in classrooms and such, I don't think they would have afforded the flexibility that the tech tub offered during those times. And thinking of future proofing, well, certainly having them in smaller sets, even if you have it on a cart, like there's pictured in the bottom corner there, even if you have your devices stored in a tech tub on the cart, you can take them apart and certainly make them a lot more portable and a lot more reactive to any given situation. So the CDC recommends physical distancing upon return to school. So that may result in smaller class sizes. And thinking of all those thousands of devices that were purchased in March and April, well, those, maybe returning to school and how are we preparing to take them back into school in this new environment? Thinking again of the sideways filing cabinet, those are big and bulky. And if there's, say, 15 students in a classroom, having something, an opportunity to store them in a tech tub, it just makes it a little easier. You can assign the tech tub in this certain pod, and then that way it's just a controlled environment. If it's a shared environment, say, they are encouraging more teachers to move than the kids to move. So in that environment, you certainly can understand having this trolley, like this gentleman here is moving. If the teachers are moving, having it be in smaller sets, again, really helps for that flexibility and being able to go wherever they're required and needed, whether it's in a gym or in another building or even in a hallway. But having it in small numbers makes it really flexible, and you're able to react quite efficiently based on the needs of the students. So prior to the pandemic, we were actually working with educators just in regards to the tech tub and the development of it, and what we had heard is the sideways filing cabinet that's shown in the top image there. That always was big, it was bulky, it was heavy, it wasn't moved around very much even though it was on wheels. And intrinsically, because there was one point of entry, it actually had all the kids lined up to get their devices both in the morning and return them at night. And that created a bottleneck and some disruption to the class time. And what the tech tub offered was an ability to deploy the devices in a few different areas in the classroom. So you alleviate that bottleneck, but you also, because they're in small sets, you have the flexibility to take it with you for outdoor ed or on a field trip if you just needed a couple of devices with you. So it really created the flexibility aspect of just a few devices, or if another teacher needed a few devices, someone could come and grab a tech tub and take it to that room and then return it. Now, since the pandemic has happened, we see another highlight of the tech tub is keeping the students apart. So having your devices deployed in different areas in the classroom allows that social distancing to happen naturally. Thinking of a one-to-one environment, there's a template on the side of this tech tub which would have 6 students' names on it. So the students are assigned a device and they are responsible for managing it throughout the day. So they would take it in the morning and return it at night, plug it in. And so the teacher really has the least amount of contact with the devices themselves. They would be responsible for closing and locking the door, and the charging is already happening. So that really helps in that one-to-one situation. Even if it's in a shared scenario where you might have, instead of one student's name per shelf, you may have a group name or a couple of students' names. And then that way, if there is any illness that breaks out, there is, it's smaller groups that have had any sort of closer interaction. March really did change everything for everyone. And after a few weeks, we kind of regained a little bit of our focus, and our design team immediately started looking to our idea lab and asking them, we want to help. What do you think the school and classroom is going to look like when we return? And as things became more clearer with recommendations from governing bodies and such, and working with the Idea Lab, we developed some products that we feel will help as schools return. Now, I don't want this to sound really like a sales pitch, but unfortunately, because school isn't in, I don't really have any real life stories to share about these products. But one thing you can rest assured is we've developed them with teachers, and they know the inside of a classroom inside and out. Thinking of other manufacturers perhaps of similar equipment, I'm not sure if they would really be focused on the classroom as their customer. So it makes me wonder, are they robust enough to handle everyday classroom use? Or even from a safety perspective. You'll see there on the left, the child safety lockout. It was designed with educators for a couple of reasons. For no waste of the hand sanitizer. And then also a secondary reason was to be able to lock it out so that it prevents kids from accessing it after hours, or ingesting the liquid itself. So those are a couple of things that when you're working with educators, you're able to get you gain that insight onto the behavior and the environment that you're designing for. So I'll go into these products in the next couple of slides and provide some inspiration for a few of them as well as to why we designed them the way we did. So how will schools manage routine cleaning of frequently touched objects and discourage sharing? The Center for Disease Control and the American Academy of Pediatrics, they both are in the position of discouraging sharing of devices and books and toys and things like that amongst students. They go on to discourage small parts because they're difficult to clean and ensure that they are disinfected. They do, however, encourage personal kits for students to avoid multiple kids touching the same supplies. So we developed a few products that we hope will bring, I guess, kids normalcy in the classroom and have these products still be able to be used on a regular basis and have them be ready for multiple kids. So think the first one there on the left is our UV Tech Tub. Now, if you are considering purchasing UV technology, I would strongly recommend and encourage you to ensure that they are UL certified. What UL certification does is put it through a very rigorous testing because UVC light in a classroom has been challenged in regards to the not the effectiveness, but if you look at it, it could do some damage over time. So I would certainly encourage you to ensure that any UV equipment that you purchase or consider that it's UL certified and been put through its paces for testing. Ours has been, and it will be starting to ship in September. Now, looking inside the tub there, it's just a box, and you'll see the two little gray spots on the top. There's actually a UVC light in all four corners going from the front to the back of the tub. And what they do is they emit UVC light. If you can imagine, the inside of the tub is very reflective, almost like a mirror. So what that does is it will reflect that UVC light, because the UVC light, in order to kill germs and bacteria, the way it does it is it disrupts the DNA. So it has to actually touch the surface in order to of the germ in order to kill it, so to speak. So when you look at that Chromebook being opened, and if you can imagine, the door is locked, the cycle has started, it's a 60-second cycle. So now those lights are really bright on the inside, it's being reflected and being, put all over in the nooks and crannies of everything. That Chromebook, including the keyboard and the screen, will all be disinfected because the light has touched it. Consequently, if you picture that Chromebook closed, now the light is only able to touch the outside of the Chromebook. So you have a very clean outside, just the inside with the keyboard is very important, obviously, to have disinfected. The nice thing as well about the UV Tech Tub, you can lock it down to a surface so you can create a secure area of disinfection. It also will accommodate other common classroom items such as robotics or headsets, or even, I guess, shoes. If someone maybe has stinky feet, you can put their shoes in there perhaps. But yeah, so it just makes it very, very flexible for other classroom equipment as well. So the next one there is the Manipulatives Cleaning Tub. As mentioned, they're kind of discouraging small parts in a classroom because of the cleaning aspect. Before COVID, you would typically see a teacher, I guess, taking these things either to the cafeteria, the teacher's lounge, or home, and having it cleaned, 5, 6, 7 times a year. Well, now they're expecting that to be ramped up quite a bit. So we wanted to develop a simple cleaning kit that has 2 blue tubs and a clear tub. So the bottom blue tub you would fill with, say, disinfectant, a bleach solution, and you'd put your small parts in the clear tub, do your cleaning, and then you'd be able to rinse and drip dry the small parts in that second blue tub. So that's just a simple way to disinfect. It's something that will happen multiple times a week. And then looking at the student personal tub kit, this was actually, the inspiration came from Copernicus, to be honest. As our production staff started to return to work, they were assigned a little tub with their name on it that they would pick up in the morning, and then they'd bring it back to the cart at night. So we thought, well, this would work perfectly to create student tub kits that the students can own during the day. I show it here with just the tub, but it is available with a cart. There would be 18 tubs on a cart. So hand washing is the most effective way to kill germs. Good old soap and water, regardless of the water temperature. It's the fact of the soap and 20 seconds worth of cleaning and such. So the Center for Disease Control, the American Federation of Teachers, and the American Academy of Pediatrics, they all recommend hand washing, but in certainly in specific times during the day as well. They want frequent hand washing happening, especially before you eat food. So that's an important time to introduce hand washing, as well as if the students are coming in from outside, they're not necessarily saying that you should disinfect the playground equipment that they're playing on, but as the students filter back into the school, that they should be washing their hands after touching equipment that other kids potentially have touched. They're also suggesting having scheduled hand washing recesses and to teach and reinforce proper hand hygiene for the students. So in situations where there's a lack of running water, we've developed this portable sink that allows you to bring the water to the students versus having the students filter to the water. So it's very portable. As you can see, there's large casters. Gives it the ability to go outside, to go inside, basically wherever you want to introduce the hand washing aspect to your students. So they're very, they've got a stainless steel top, stainless steel tub. They're very robust. We've tested our pump, as you can see, over 50,000 times. The tanks that are included, they include a 5-gallon freshwater tank, and then a 6-gallon wastewater. We have extra tanks available, one with a dolly as well. So if you're looking at doing a large number of kids, you can have those replacement tanks at the ready and switch them out fairly quickly. So because students are different heights and sizes, we offer 2 different counter heights. We've got a pre-K to grade 5, which is 28 inches. And then we have the grade 6 plus or adult sized at 34.5 inches. We also offer a premium model on the left. The premium model there includes the paper towel dispenser as well as a soap dispenser. So when you're not able to, I guess, have the kids filter through running water, it's a great alternative to bring the water to them and be able to still have them do proper hand hygiene. Proper hand hygiene in general is one of the most effective strategies to prevent the spread of germs and bacteria, including COVID-19. The Sick Kids in Toronto actually are recommending that a hand sanitizer be available inside every classroom. So our hand sanitizer dispensers, they have actually been tested to over 400,000 cycles. So with that, it will stand the test of time. If you put in name brand batteries inside the dispenser, we are getting reports of 30 to 40,000 dispenses out of a good set of batteries. And if a student does it, if say there's 25 kids in the classroom and they access the sanitizer 3 times a day, it's going to last 400 calendar days. Not calendar days, education days. So with that, it's going to last with a good set of batteries as well. The dispenser itself is fairly agnostic. It doesn't matter what type of sanitizer you put in there. You can do your typical gel, which I think we're all aware of. And with the shortage of sanitizer gel, distillers and brewers have really stepped up and started to share their expertise and their products. With that, those end up being almost like water. They're much lighter than the gel or thinner than the gel. So they work through here as the dispenser as well. So you have your typical hand sanitizer gel, you have your the gel or the sanitizer that's almost like water. And then also through our dispensers, you can do liquid soap. So if you have them in a washroom, you can certainly run soap through them as well. So with that, it certainly we've developed a few products that actually house this dispenser. When it's remote, it's an automatic one. So you put your hand underneath, the little light will flash, and you'll have the dispensed sanitizer in your hand. The sanitizer cartridge as well, you just tip the face of it down, and it's 32 ounces in there. So you can put anything in there, whether it be your big jug of hand sanitizer gel, which is the most cost-effective way to do it. There are other dispensers out there that require you to purchase an actual cartridge from the manufacturer, and that gets quite expensive. So whatever you have on hand is perfect to go through it. The stands, the two stands in the middle, you've probably seen similar ones at grocery stores or banks. They dispense at 40 inches above the floor. So that's average for an adult, kind of at your mid chest area. And the one on the right there, the single student, it actually dispenses at 28 inches instead of 40. So it's a full foot lower. And the reason for that is to make it comfortable for student sized. And then we also offer the ability to lock it out. As I was mentioning earlier, inadvertent ingesting of the sanitizer or simple waste of the sanitizer. The gel now is almost like liquid gold, I understand. So with that, having it on casters makes it very flexible as well. So you can roll this not only in a classroom, but now you can bring it to wherever you need hand sanitizing. So to outdoor areas, anywhere. So that's another reason to have it locked up, so that if it is inadvertently left in a hallway, if it's locked, then it's safe. Behind the main panel there, you can see there's a paper towel rack and then also a locking tub. Those are included in the premium model. So that this creates the ultimate flexibility. You can have hand sanitizer basically wherever you need it, and determine that long-term requirement. Having it be mobile before that allows you to discover where you need to have your more permanent installations. The last group of products that I'd like to cover today is the physical barriers. The Center for Disease Control is focusing on having 6 feet worth of distance between students, and when that's not possible, they want the introduction of physical barriers between them. So these are see-through. They're portable. As you can see, they're on casters. One of the reasons I think a lot of manufacturers are doing see-through panels is for the social and emotional well-being of the students. Teachers and educators and pediatricians are not fully understanding what this extended away time and such is doing for the social and emotional learning of children. So with the see-through panels, upon the return to school, at least the kids are able to see facial expressions or body language, kind of creating a new normal, but having that interaction, that social and emotional interaction, will be very important upon the return to school. The panels, as I was mentioning, are very mobile, so you can have them not only between students, you can have them in front of the teacher's desk. You can bring them out to a central location like the front office, in an admin area. So it just makes it really flexible to be able to create those physical barriers. Now, what I like about our product is, you see the ones there on the left, they have storage bins underneath, and that blue strip across the front, that's a marker ledge and a book ledge. At the top there's chart paper hooks. So that makes it, the equipment, you're able to use the equipment. Say you don't need physical barriers anymore. This allows you as an educator to use these as typical teaching easels. So now you have the ability to have a chart paper on there, or a green paper, make it a green screen. So I think it's great that we're looking forward to not needing these as a physical barrier, but now you've got a bunch of new teaching easels in your school to utilize. Continuing on with the physical barriers, we offer a 2 foot by 2 foot square and a series of brackets as well that you can configure them in whichever way that you need, whether it's on a long cafeteria table or a short square. Again, with that see-through aspect, you're really facilitating the best you can for the social emotional learning of the children. So all of our items are available to purchase through tech, and varying delivery dates. As I was mentioning with the UV tech tub, that's in September. Some of these barriers are the end of August and early September as well. So students, educators, parents, we've all been through so much in the last 5 months, and I've seen a lot of incredible interaction between teachers and students and parents and such. But by creating safe spaces and plans for deployment of devices and looking after each other, we'll certainly get past this, and we'll be together. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Shelley. We did receive a few questions in the Q&A box. So if you don't mind, just another few minutes.
Certainly.
So Colton from New York asks, how many UV tubs do you recommend per classroom of devices?
It's a great question. Thanks, Colton. I think it's up to the number of devices in the classroom. It's 60 seconds per cycle. So if you have, say, 30 devices, you can have them lined up and cycle through them fairly quickly. However, if you want to be more efficient, you could have more. With the cost of them, I think it's budgetary as well. Like our price on them is $1,100. It's not as expensive as other UV solutions, but I think it's really up to the user. I think every classroom could really utilize it because it's not only for devices, it's for other classroom equipment as well. So you can put, as I was mentioning earlier, any sort of toys, books, things like that through it as well. So really the efficiency is in the numbers. And I think one per classroom would be the most efficient opportunity.
Great. And then just one last question. Dawn from Maine asks, is there any issue wiping down the tech tubs with a disinfecting wipe?
That is a great question. Thanks, Dawn. I know we've tested our regular plastic tubs, like say that little blue tub, the personal tub, that has been tested with Cavi wipes and disinfection of bleach, I think 2 to 10 for bleach. I would assume that it would be fine. Our tech tubs are guaranteed for life. So really, if anything did happen over time, we would replace it. But I'm confident that our team has tested all of our plastics for the disinfecting wipes, knowing that that is the new environment that we will be in. So yeah, I appreciate the question.
All right, excellent. I haven't seen any other questions roll in. So before we leave, I just want to remind everyone that I am going to be sending a follow-up email for this session. It's going to include a recording of the session so you can watch it again, share it with your colleagues. On the email, I'm also going to include a survey. So please just take a minute just to let us know. We would love to hear your feedback on what you thought of the Tech Virtual Summit and of this session. And we do plan on scheduling another one of these hopefully in August. So we want to make it even bigger and better than this one. It's been great so far. And Shelley, you've just been absolutely wonderful. One more question did just come up from Peter. Are there dividers available now to ship?
The clear dividers for the classroom. Unfortunately, I believe we are looking at stock at the end of August. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And I guess with that, no other questions have come in. Shelley, thank you so much for your time. This was wonderful.
Thank you, Nina, and thanks everyone for attending. I really appreciate it.
And if you have any other questions, feel free to respond to the follow-up emails that we're going to be sending out. We're also going to include this slide deck with it so that you can review it. Everyone have a wonderful day. We have one more session with our virtual tech summit. It starts at 2 o'clock and it is facilitating hybrid classrooms and remote learning. So make sure to join us for that one. If you haven't registered yet, you can go to tech.com, our events page, and register right now. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.